Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and down in San Diego is my good friend and co-host, Dennis Bithoulkas. What is up, Dennis?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm,
Vacation boy.
I'm doing real good. And we are here covering The Expanse, Season 3, Episode 11, Fallen World. And hi, how is everybody doing in the chat? We'll get to you guys in just a second. Welcome, of course, to all the new subscribers. Please ignore the dogs in the background. They're going nuts. Just in time, by the way. And man, we're coming to an end of another season of The Expanse. I'm getting kind of sad about this, but at least it's not the end. I will say again, I'm very happy it's not the end. We have another season, so it's all good. And let's start breaking this one down, because this was the aftermath of the craziness of last episode. And this is really good stuff that they brought in from the book, man.
Before we start, let's do the paddle, since you got the paddles there.
Spoiler warning. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert paddles, courtesy of Viking Bitch. Please check out her art.
Yep. If you haven't watched the episode, go and watch it. Come on back and then come and watch us. Unless you're Apple Crow and you haven't watched the episode anyway, and you're just watching us just for the fun of it. So there you go. So we start off with Bobby. We had an unconscious Holden, because Holden saw everything. He knows Kung Fu now. And he's unconscious, sitting there in the alien battleship, or the hub, if you will, the sphere. And Bobby grabs him and says he needs to come in, come with us. That's our mission. We need to grab him. And she goes, wait a minute. She takes a look at the bullets, and she sees the bullets are still kind of sitting there in the middle of the air, just before the Marines are getting ready to jump up into the hole there. And she fires a missile off, and she sees what the speed is. And she goes, okay, keep it under 28 meters per second. Everything's changed now. So we need to go a little bit slower.
And yes, and it's changed because I would ask the question, why didn't it change again when you fired another missile? Yeah. But I think the ship can detect a direct attack on itself.
Yeah.
And it changed the rules. So that's what it did. It disassembled that one Martian guy and used him to repair the floor, which was, very, honestly, if you're going to do something with a disassembled body, that is one thing to do with it.
Very economic.
Yeah. So she sussed out pretty quick that the rules have changed, and we need to go a little slower in the slow zone.
And so we see Naomi, who got caught up in all of this. She was unconscious in the racer there. And she wakes up just in time to see her console kind of start melting and start catching fire. And she runs back, puts on the suit, and pops open the door and takes care of the fire. Just, snuffs it right on out. And then she decides it's a good time to exit the ship, since she's close enough to the Rossi to kind of make a jump for it.
And the effects, I've heard some complaints, not many, about the effects. The effects, that was really cool how they showed the flame kind of bubble out. There's a couple,
kind of like lava.
Yeah. There's a couple scenes that they got, at least they try to get the science right of the effects. And again, they don't have to be perfect for me. They don't, because you know what? There's another show called Star Trek Discovery that does sometimes have pretty good special effects, and it doesn't help at all.
Yeah, that's because they don't, deal with science at all. So that's another story for another topic. Then we end up seeing the Martians. They're leaving the alien ship with Holden, and they're giving him some medical attention. They put him in the chair because he's comatose at this point. His heart is getting ready to stop, actually, and we see Bobby shocking him and getting him back. And we see their ship. I'm going to murder it, by the way. The Zhu Shen has Shusen. Yeah. Have 1/3 dead and another 1/3 are wounded. And they're not coming back for them, and they can't really make it over to them with the speed, at 28 meters per second. So they're pretty much screwed. They're trying to get all those people back, to the main ship outside of the ring. And it can't really happen at that speed.
No, and Bobby said the obvious, but that's straight out of the book. A lot of people just died.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, and they're trying to blame some of the crew members there. Oh, thank you, Dakota Stanton. $5 as usual. I'm at work and I have not seen it, but have fun. I also started G.R.R. Martin Wildcard last night. It's fairly good.
Excellent.
Nice.
Thank you, Dakota, for the super chat. We appreciate it.
And so, yeah, her two crewmates with her are blaming Holden for pretty much everyone's death at this point. And we'll get to that a little bit later too. There's some drama that happens with that.
Yeah,
So
we can see where that one's going.
yeah, so Drummer and Ashford are trapped in the behemoth in the hold where they were by the big tractor that they were standing next to, and her leg is caught and pinned, and Ashford is actually pinned at the chest, with the truck, and they can't really move it. So they're trying to release the mag locks together to get the tractor to move upwards because they don't have any comms. His comms smashed, her comms, she didn't have any on her. No one knows that they're down there because she didn't bother telling anybody. And the only way for them to get out of it is to have the tractor float upwards because if it goes backwards, it kills him. If it goes forwards, it kills her.
And Ashford does not waste the opportunity to give her another teachable moment about a captain needs to tell somebody where they are.
Yeah, at all times.
I was just trying to keep from punching my first officer in the face in front of the crew. So I just needed a moment.
I needed some me time.
Yes.
Some little mint teas and maybe some lavender bath salts, that kind of thing. Yeah. That's not Drummer at all, by the way. So we see Clarissa. She ends up waking up floating with blood all around her. And we see Tilly's body floating right above her, like pinned to the ceiling. And I was like, oh, crap. That's not good. And so she ends up just walking away from Tilly, walking down the hallway. And her arm seems to be bothering her. She's grabbing onto her arm. And then we see Anna.
And she had just popped her adrenaline thing.
Yeah.
Right. So that's probably what saved her. If you want to know, like, she got out pretty much. Yeah. Her arm. That's about it. So that probably had a lot to do with it.
And so we see Anna coming out of her quarters, and she looks all kind of woozy, and she stops by her first aid kit, grabs an injection hypo, and injects herself. We don't know why. And then sees all these people just dead hanging there in 0G in the corridor. And then she sees some injured people coming by and making their way through. So she ends up following them. And she ends up going to a makeshift infirmary where she's talking to the doctor. And she was just, tell me what to do. I'm a nurse. I have nurse training. I can actually help. And he goes, no, you don't understand. This is your first time out here, isn't it? He goes, without gravity, these wounds can't flow. You're going to have blood clotting. It's going to pool up. These people are pretty much, it's a death sentence. And she, when he finds out that she's actually a minister, he's like, well, that's probably more helpful here than anything else.
Yeah. Why don't you put a good word to your boss? Because we're going to need it. Yeah. And before, when Anna was walking through the hallway, this was just like the credit scene. And they've done it before, but it doesn't make it any less creepy with the bodies just like standing up. Like that one girl who had like a wire or some kind of conduit, like just piercing through her, and she's just standing there in the wires. Yeah, there was a little blood floating, and then they're sucking the blood out with a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah,
out of the air.
Yeah, just because it's just floating there in big globs. Really kind of disgusting.
Yes,
so go back to
Gravlane says. Sorry, Gravlane says 0G tears. We will get to that.
Yes. Ashford and Drummer, we go back to them, and they're doing a little team building exercise by Ashford realizes that he actually has control of the arm that's next to the tractor there, and she sees the Drummer sees this actual handheld kind of spinning around, and so they're trying to get to it. So she's telling him how to maneuver it because he can't see where it's at, but he can operate it. So they're doing team building exercises. Open up the arm. He misses it the first time. Second time he gets it. And then, of course, it shorts out and smashes the handheld.
Yep.
Which just really sucks.
It really sucked. And I kind of thought, oh, they're going to make it? No, they didn't. That would have been way too easy for the Expanse. Folks.
Oh, yeah. No, it would have been really easy. So Anna ends up finding Clarissa. She's walking around looking for people with broken bones and stuff like that. And we find out that Clarissa has a broken arm. And she still thinks, by the way, Clarissa is Melba. So just so you know this. And
yeah, Tilly at this point is the only one who knows.
Yeah, Tilly is the only one that knows at this point. So she takes her down to the med bay, and they get her arm put in a sleeve. And she tells her, yeah, and by the way, all the ships in the sector here are actually all getting pulled towards the sphere. We don't know what happened. Just everything's going towards the sphere right now. I know it's scary, but calm down a little bit.
Yes. Well, yeah,
And just
it's pulling it in orbit.
into orbit.
That's getting closer to the sphere, and it's part of their its defense mechanism.
Obviously. And so Tilly ends up calling up Anna's comm, and she doesn't say anything. We just hear a little bit of whisper or something. And so Anna's like, "Where are you? Where are you at?" And so Anna takes off to go and find her. And that's when we flash back over to Bobby's ship with the Martians. And one of her soldiers down there who's watching Holden basically says, "You know what? He's the reason for all of this. For all we know, he's the one who killed everybody aboard here when he looked like he was controlling it." And she's like, "We don't know that for sure." And he goes, "Well, there's one way to clean up this mess. Just kill him right now." She goes, "I was the one that fired the first shot," is what she said, by the way.
Yeah.
You know what? So if anyone's to blame, it's me on this. And he goes, "Well, the one way to clean up this mess," and he gives her the gun, and she just looks at him and takes the gun and puts it back in the holster and says, "We're following the mission. We bring him back. That's our mission."
Right. She goes up to the pilot.
Yeah.
Who echoes the same thing. And by the way, she tells her at current speed, it's like they're a day out from the Shuzhen, and even farther from the ring, actually. So yeah, they're crawling along out there. And then she kind of echoes that she agrees with her crewmate there that he's not wrong about Holden. So it looks like there's a little mutiny brewing.
Yeah. And actually, she doesn't say a day out. She goes, at this speed, it's going to take 7 months to exit.
Well, that's 7 months to the ring, but it's a day out to the Shuzhen.
Oh, okay. Day out to the Shuzhen, yeah. At the 28 meters per second. Yeah, that's just brutal. So Anna is going down through the corridor looking for Tilly, and she finds Tilly skewered to the ceiling there with a little pipe through her chest. And Tilly's barely hanging on, and she tells Anna that Melba is Clarissa.
Well, before that, she goes, "In a way, this is your fault."
Yeah, she does. And I was like, finally, someone actually tells Anna that your advice is really fucking bad.
Yeah.
Can you and this is all your fault. This is what happens with your advice. Your advice leads to death.
Yeah, and so we see some zero G tears filling up, and Anna's calls for some help, and we know the situation. There's tons of internal bleeding, so Tilly's dead. And she dies, basically telling her that Melba is Clarissa Mao. She wants to kill Holden, and then she
tried to kill her.
Really good at this, and Anna, don't listen to Anna, okay? Not right now, anyway.
And don't follow her. I mean, it just seems like
poor Anna.
Yeah. So Ashford, we come back to Ashford, and he's singing a song, and he says it was a song that he used to sing to his daughter. And anytime he's scared, he sings it because it takes his mind off things. It makes his mind operate in a way that doesn't make him think about what's going on at the time. And he tells Drummer, because Drummer asks him, well, what's the craziest thing you ever did that almost got you killed? And he's thinking about it, and he goes, I had to overload a reactor trying to get home, with this one pirate gig that I was working on, because I wanted to see this girl. And he goes, I overloaded the reactor. I had to dump my my cargo. And he goes, but I made it home, barely.
Yeah. She's all, I didn't take you for the romantic type. And he's like, it was hormones. There was no romance there.
Yeah. And then Drummer asks her, what's your most dangerous thing? And she said it was Hyperion. He goes, oh, the rings of Saturn. Yeah, I know those well. And she goes, no. Hyperion on Ceres. It's a bartender with a heavy pour and me with a happy heart. That's all we got. We didn't get much more to that story.
That was a good story, though. I like that.
Yeah, that was a good story. And then we find out that Ashford was the one that came with the uniforms for the Belters. He said, you know what? The victors always dress alike so they can tell, that we're all together now and that we're serious and that, we're not apart anymore. And he goes, this is the reason why we have these uniforms. And she's like, you know what? No, we're Belters. We should just be wearing, just be us.
We are what we are.
Yeah, we are what we are.
But he says, there'll be time for that later.
Yeah.
And, they've really changed the Ashford character quite a bit from the books. That's all I'll say. Liking this one a little more, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like him a lot because he's actually looking towards the future. That's what he's looking towards. He's like, I want something else for for the Belters.
This does not make him I mean, he
No.
might be a good guy in this situation, but that's why this show is special. If anybody wants to know, like, why do you think this show is a cut above all the other ones? Because they make complex characters like this who you will feel differently about from season to season, like, or it within a show, from minute to minute within a show. You're like, oh, I like this guy, but then he turns out to be he does something to somebody you like later, and he turns into a dick. That's what makes a good, complicated show. That is Game of Thrones. It's good men in the service of bad men. Subverting expectations in a good way. Ryan Johnson. That's what this show does so well.
Yeah. So Clarissa ends up going into the empty bridge there because there's just blood all over the bridge. We see this. And again, she plots a course to the Rossi because, she's got a one-track mind here. She finally finds a way to get to the Rossi.
I like to call it singularly focused.
Yes, she is singularly focused. Yes. And we see Anna trying to track her down. She goes, hey, what happened to the girl with the splint on her arm in here is what she's asking the med tech. And the med tech's like, I'm trying to take care of some people. And she goes, I don't have time to track these people down. She goes, here. And she actually sends it over to her comm and goes, you track her
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Anna does. So Anna's going after her. And she ends up fighting Clarissa in a suit, leaving the ship through the airlock. And she's screaming at Melba. Take that back. She's still calling her Melba. That, all you need to do is beg for mercy, kind of thing. Which, honestly, first she's calling her Melba. She knows she's Clarissa now at this point. And then she's telling her to beg for mercy, on her way back, if she ever makes it back. She's really, again, not a good judge of character at all.
Well, yeah, but I think at this point she doesn't really know who. I mean, she heard her say Clarissa Mao, and maybe she doesn't even know who she is. She might have heard of Mao before, but Anna doesn't look like the type of person like watches the news all the time. So it kind of makes sense that she really wouldn't know who she was. Like that wouldn't click right away. I thought that was actually a nice detail.
Yeah, see, I don't know, because I mean, Tilly was talking to her about that stuff. She actually said, that was Clarissa Mao. We used to go to parties together. She's one of the Mao children of Jules Pierre Mao, and Anna knows who Jules Pierre Mao is because she was embroiled in all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I know Elon Musk is. I don't know the name of his kids.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe she just chose to call her Melba as not to piss her off. Maybe it wasn't helping. Beg for mercy doesn't usually help, but
yeah, I mean, yeah. Come on back and beg for mercy. That'll get you back in here.
Maybe she was just trying to get her in and didn't really give a fuck what she was going to call her. It doesn't really matter.
Oh man, yeah. So then we see Naomi actually enter the Rossi, and she at first finds it empty. She's going through the ship. She's on the comms trying to find anybody. And she goes into the galley and finds Alex floating there. And he's unconscious. She goes, hey, Alex, wake up. Are you okay? And he's like, yeah. And she goes, where's Holden? He goes, oh, Holden left a while ago. She's like, what? Where'd he go? He goes, oh, he left with Miller. And she's like, what are you talking about? Miller's dead. And he goes, no. And he's kind of like fading out. So she's like, okay, we're getting you to the med bay. So she gets him down to the med bay. And then she finds Amos. Amos is back, back over by the Prax garden over there, and he's banged up pretty bad.
He's in the machine shop.
Yeah. And he's got some blood coming out of over his eye, and she goes, Amos, oh my God, wake up. And he looks at her, and I love his line. He goes, you changed your hair.
Yep.
Before he passes back out again. I love that. That was actually pretty good.
Yeah. And he, excuse me, she did. I didn't know. Maybe when did she change it? When she got on the Behemoth? I just noticed it now, but I guess it's been that way for a couple episodes. It's got a little, she got a little color in there.
Yeah, a little bit of color.
So the Belters are good hairdressers. They do good hair and tattoos.
So we see that Ashford now is coughing up some blood, and he's like, you know what? I think I might have punctured a lung. He goes, but you know what? In this 0G thing, it's not going to last for very long anyway. So who cares, at this point? And Drummer almost passes out. She momentarily kind of passes out, and Ashford bangs on the tractor and says, hey, don't give up on me now. She gets pissed off and says, you know what? I'm going to do some Belter ingenuity. She pulls out the power coupling out of the tractor. And he goes, what are you doing? What are you doing? I can't see. and she pops it into the basically into this big panel, and she gets the tractor to move forward, crushing her a little bit more, but freeing Ashford.
Yep. So if anybody ever questioned that if Drummer's not a badass, that was a boss move right there. That was a boss move. That was fucking badass. So yeah, and
Ashford immediately calls for help, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, because honestly, I was waiting for him to like get the communicator and like leave her there or something like that.
Yeah.
To be more in character with the one from the book. But I also see that Drummer has replaced Bull at this point. Bull is a character from the book that they left out, but they've decided to piece out his parts to a little bit here and there. A little bit to
Okay.
Ashford, a little bit to Drummer, a little bit to Naomi, and it's actually worked out really good. Yeah, Drummer's awesome, and she is now Bull.
Wow. So we have Amos waking up in the med chair, the med bay, to find Naomi taking care of Alex in the next chair over. And he asks her, if she's back to stay. And she says, yes, she's here to stay with her family. She realized, getting away from her family, how much she missed them.
Yep. And he just goes, okay, and looks away. Now, I don't know if he's because, he got his bell rung, or if he's pissed, or if that's Amos being happy. We're not really sure.
I think it's all of the above.
Yep.
A little bit from column A, a little bit from column B. So then we have Clarissa entering the Rossi, and excuse me, actually, I just skipped over something there. Sorry. Ashford says the drummer saved his life because we've got Drummer on the med bay couch there. She's getting taken care of. And he says, yeah, without her, he goes, I wouldn't be here. And so he's talking her up a lot. And so he finds out that they have 100 dead, 100 wounded, and low medical supplies. And so he decides, he goes, you know what? We're going to spin the drum.
Yep. And that's something they haven't mentioned a lot since the creation of the ship. Is it's a ship that's supposed to be traveling for like 100 years, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's going to have its own gravity, and I don't know if they mentioned this in the show, but they mentioned it in the book. Like you can like plow there. It was big enough to where you could have gardens on this, like legit gardens inside. That's why they do have all that farming equipment and stuff. So yeah, this is cool. Spin the drum. That was awesome.
Spin the drum. Cool. And he's like, are you sure it could rip the ship apart? She can't go any faster, sir. You give her all she's got. She's going to rip apart.
So we don't have 3 hours.
I backed up the toilet into the antimatter engine.
Okay,
that's enough. All right. I could go on and on. I won't. So we end up having Clarissa entering the Rossi, and Naomi sees this. She goes, what the hell's going on down in the airlock? And she doesn't have any video. She's like, what's going on in the airlock? Why isn't there any video? So she ends up going down there, and she bumps into Clarissa in her mech suit.
Oh, she goes down there and she sees a hole in the airlock. Oh, the outside airlock door is closed, and then the inner door is completely ripped off.
Yeah. And we see Clarissa in the mech suit, and she, of course, tries running from her and gets grabbed, brought down, and so she puts up a good fight.
Oh, she does. That was badass. The little 0G fight. We got a little, aliens.
Yeah.
All back there.
Says the Terminator scene, too. We got her in the little Terminator mode. She's like, where's Holden? She goes, I don't know. And she goes, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. She goes, well, that's going to be your last words kind of thing. And she's like, one more time before I kill you. And she's like, no. And just before, she's going to squeeze the life out of her, we see this. She gets shocked. Clarissa. And she falls over, and we see Anna in a spacesuit.
Deus Ex Anna. Yes. Apparently, she was following her really close out there.
Yeah.
Hey, it's okay. That's fine. It's her first time, but you know what? Sometimes I get a straight up school teacher vibe from Anna, and I could totally see like a school teacher, protecting one of her kids, going, crazy like that. So yeah, I can believe it. Why not?
Wrath of God, man. Come on. Just give me a little. Yeah. And so then we have Ashford. He's up there, up on the bridge. He's acting captain now at this point, and everyone's calling him captain. And you go, give the order, Captain. And
And
he
he
says,
says, "My
spin the
ship."
drum. Yeah, my
Well, this
ship.
is my ship. So
Yeah. And he orders to spin the drum. And he goes, give me a wide beam to all the ships. And he says, we have gravity. If you have injured, bring them over. We'll take care of them. And that's actually badass, man.
that was a badass move. That he opens the channels to everybody. He's all, we're all in this catastrophe together. Bring your wounded. You'll be welcome here. It's a brilliant political move. This guy's no idiot.
Oh no, not at all.
And yeah, then he tells everybody, hey, you know, I've got something you don't have. I've got gravity, and those people who were gonna die can now live. Please bring them in. So yeah, he scored a lot of points. And then we shoot back to the shuttle with Bobby, and they're on orders to keep going to the Shuzhen.
Yeah, and Holden wakes up, and Bobby comes down to him, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "I had a vision." And she says, "Of what?" He says, "Of everything." And he says, "The end of everything."
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how we end it.
That's how we end it. And this was a nice setup for a good we're gonna get, well, it's 2 episodes, but a 2-hour episode next week.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So just a program note, it looks like we can be at our regular time of 8:15, 8:30 next week, because I'm getting off work early, even though that'll be my first day back from vacation for the Expanse. So I can do this. It's going to be a big deal. Thank you, Feisty Fan.
Thank you,
Dennis,
Feisty.
you totally rock a monocle. You could
I
totally
probably
rock a
could.
monocle.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
probably
you
could do a
should.
little monocle.
Little
There's
top hat. There you go.
Yeah, I could do that at
That
some
would
point.
look all sophisticated. Yeah, right.
Because you know me, I'm all sophisticated and shit.
And shit. That's right.
Should we get to some of the chat here?
Let's get to some of the chat.
All right. So we were talking about a few things here and there. Grevlin says a whole lot slower bullet speed. It had to stop the bullets. RPG would be slower than rounds. That's true. That's true. An RPG is slower than bullets. So
That's not something I thought about, but that's cool. There you go.
That's actually very smart on her part, firing that off.
It is. And, you know, hey, again, not a scientist. I don't know for sure, but this show seems to get it all right. They seem to take the time to think about this stuff, which is all we ever ask. You don't have to get it perfect. Okay. It's fine. But, you know, that being slow, you know, rounds being faster. That's something you think about. Sonar in space. That is something you don't think about very much.
I do. Come on. I think of torches in space all the time.
Yes. I'm sure like next season we'll get the torches in space. They'll actually have torches, you know, with their little sonar device. Sorry, we're talking about Star Trek Discovery. We gotta stop.
Grevlin, yes, 0G fire. That's what that was. That fire in Naomi's ship was a 0G fire. So we didn't have it just kind of going like we know normal fire, where, you know, with gravity, where it just kind of goes up, but it was just spreading and just moving like bubbling. It was really kind of cool.
It was very cool.
Oh, oops.
Same with the tears too, with Tilly's tears bubbling up in there too. That was yeah, it was sad. It was sad. And plus I like that character a lot, and I was sorry to see her go.
And then, yes, Movie Fanobi, also for the other science reference, the 0G injury reference was also enjoyable for reality's sake. Yeah, having the doctor just explain in one sentence why 0G is so bad for gravity, you know, for injuries, was brilliant.
Yep.
And doing it quickly. You didn't have to, like, you know, belabor the point. Just say, hey, you know what? Wounds don't flush out, you know, blood pools up, and people are dead pretty much if they have internal injuries.
And it worked within the story. You had somebody who had not been out there before. I mean, like, we're figuring this stuff out. We're not writers, you know, we're just a couple of schmoes. So yeah. Again, if you ever wonder why we say this show is a cut above, this is why. If you're for some reason watching us without watching the show, that is awesome. But yeah, check out this show. It's that good.
Movie Fanobi says, yeah, VB, I enjoyed what she did this week, but still a little outside of her skill set. Her timid reaction after tasting was funny. I believe this is in response to Anna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy that Anna had something to do as well. Is what Viking Bitch said.
Yeah.
After
So
tasing, excuse me, after tasing.
okay, yeah.
Tasting.
Without giving any details, they brought the character in earlier than she shows up in the books. I'll just say that, because it would have been weird to just pop her in, and 2 episodes ago. So we had to meet Anna, get to know Anna, and actually they filled her character out very accurate to the books in a very clever way, without really changing much. Okay,
Yeah.
it was really cool. But this episode was the best example of kind of what the books are. The Rosie, Holden and the Rosie are one chapter or one point of view character, and you usually have like 2 or 3 more point of view characters that you follow. So they're not the main. Holden's still the main character, but sometimes he's not the main character in an entire book. He's a supporting character along with our new characters, and that's it could work sometimes, and it doesn't work sometimes. Not all the new characters you bring in are great, but they do. Again, for guys who write a book a year, that's fun. That's I can't even get my head around that.
Well, yeah, you have 2 people, bouncing ideas off of each other. It actually helps. I remember doing that in school for some stuff that I had to do. So, and it does help a lot. And so just trying to do it
especially
yourself.
like 2 guys who are obviously, I mean, they might laugh at this, but the end result is that you guys are on the same page. I don't know what the creative process is. Maybe you fist fight every day. I have no idea. We've all gone through the creative process in life with arts and crafts with kids or a film projects or something or other. And there's always that person you feel like you have to drag to the party, or just want to leave behind, which is usually me. I just want to leave them behind. But yeah, so it's amazing that they get that done. That's why the show is special, and it's going to be, man, especially the next book, which I will not spoil at all. But I'm really glad it's at Amazon. It's going to need an Amazon budget. I'll just say that.
Keith Brooks says, when the Nauvoo started turning, it reminded me of Babylon 5. Yeah, that ship design was very reminiscent of Babylon 5. But I mean, there's really nowhere to go with, something that spins and creates gravity without having it look like that kind of thing. Like a giant beer can or a barrel turning in space.
Well, they have the one in 2001, which was
Oh yeah,
like a big,
yeah.
I don't know, like a wheel. It was just a wheel, yeah.
Oh, the wheel, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but this show does, I'll say, borrow from a lot of sci-fi, but it does it very well. Very well.
Hate Pirate says, maybe a little biased, but the old pirate makes a lot of sense throughout this season.
That's just bias. I'm not going to listen to a word you say, pirate. No, I love pirates.
Oh man,
I love hate pirates.
Penn Farm Girl Keith Brooks. Not the first time I thought of B% during the series. I don't know what that is. Okay, sorry. That must have been something they were talking about earlier. Movie for Nobody says, yeah, floating bodies are always unsettling, especially when done right. It's supposed to be unsettling. Having them kind of doing that. Oh, God. Grevlin says Bobby should have slapped his ass.
Probably. The season isn't over yet. That still might happen. Still stoked we saved the show, says Penn Farm Girl. I am too. That is not worn off yet. And Viking Bitch states the obvious, but it still needs to be stated. Once Amazon starts it up, it will be amazing. It will. I'm really looking forward to Comic-Con, Viking Bitch. I'm hoping they give us something. I don't care if it's even just a like a sizzle reel, something.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be. You know how it is with Comic-Con. They always go, "Oh, we're not gonna be there. We're not gonna be there." Oh, but guess what? We have something special.
Yep.
Yeah, they always do that. I hate that part. Mary Ashmead says Anna doesn't give good advice and fucks things up. Yes, she does. Quite a bit.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of surprised she knew the working end of a taser and didn't tase herself. Because it seems like that's what she would have done, quite honestly.
Which end of this?
Sorry, you're dead.
Honestly, that was probably something I'd do too. How's this thing work? That's how.
Oh man. Sorry, they're talking about a lot of things. A Carter says, "Where can I buy a Belter album with drummer and Ashford singing?" Nursery rhymes for the recently pinned.
For the recently planned. There we go.
Yeah. Tarka Jedi says, at Nerdotic Channel, I totally agree. This Ash is so much more interesting. All shades of gray.
Yeah. Yeah, I promise no book spoilers. When I get to that book review, that'll be fun. We'll be able to compare the show. And yes, our first Expanse book review will be this weekend, Sunday early. By the way, we'll be doing Leviathan Wakes. So join us. It'll be more of a book discussion. So come on in. Help me out because I've never done the last book review I did was like a book report in like fifth grade, something like that. So
and there are a lot of errors in that one.
Well, I can't even remember. I think I got a C on it. So.
Oh, Crazy Carlos 999.
Dang.
Thank you. It's down at the bottom there.
I got it. Yeah. I got it. Sorry I'm late. Dealing with all this Comic-Con BS with the city. Haven't seen the episode, but love you guys and gals. Crazy Carlos. I'm sorry you're dealing with Comic-Con BS with the city. Oh, because they're closing the street? Or,
yeah, they're closing down Harbor.
Does that have something to do with your job? Well, I hope it is not BS for you anymore, sir. And we love you too. Thanks, man. Thanks for the $9.99. So you're down in San Diego. What's up, homeboy? That's where I'm from.
Yeah, and I'm down here too.
Where you live? Hey.
Tarka Jedi says, my niece has a Naomi haircut now and wants to build fusion rockets now. Her mom thinks that she'll grow out of it, but I'm sending her TED Talk links. Nice.
That's
always
great.
Good to support her. Yeah.
That is great.
Mufinobi says, Dennis is already growing a goatee to go with that monocle.
Yeah, he's got to finish up. I say Dennis should grow a beard, don't you guys? I think.
Oh God, no! It's too hot down here for that. The goatee's good enough. Polly Simeon says the original Mars Marine tossed a grenade. Guessing the tossed incendiary doesn't constitute a threat. Well, that was actually the fired incendiary. Is that what you're talking about, Polly Simeon? The little RPG that she fired? She fired it up through the hole.
Yeah. But I don't know if you caught the beginning of the podcast. I thought somebody would mention that because I actually thought about it too. But no, it can sense things. It's okay. The thing they're on is really, really advanced. I don't think I'm stating anything that's out of that people don't know. It's like really, really advanced. We'll just say that.
Stun the Wombat says, I'm rather good with math and physics. This show is one of the most realistic ever made.
Awesome. I'm going to take your word for it. And maybe you can help my son with his homework. We can talk. Because Common Core, math is math. Why do you change math?
I know, really.
Sorry.
The new age math.
I laughed so hard in that incredible scene, and I was the only one, but because I've said those exact words.
Yeah, I've heard about the new math now, and it just seems mind-boggling. But anyway, Deanna McComb says maybe Tilly isn't dead. Remember Havelock from season 1? I don't remember Havelock from season 1.
I remember Havelock from season 1. I do. He's kind of I won't say a big time actor. He gets a lot of work. I wonder if they can get him back. I can't say much more than that, but sometimes people return if they're still alive in the show. I'll just say that. I don't think that's terribly spoilery. I don't know how soon it is though. But yes, I remember Havelock. He's a good character. He's a great character. I miss him from season 1.
Tarka Jedi says she knows so much about fusion now. It impresses me, and I'm a physicist. Talking about his niece again. Gravity is always a factor. For instance, notice how the Belter actors use their boots without thinking. Yeah, you know what? I was actually thinking about that. I think last week when we were watching the episode when the Belters are walking. actually when everyone's walking now, and they walk in such a specific way when they're using the magnetic boots, that I'm wondering if they actually put real magnets on their feet.
Or weights or something.
I would say the magnet, because you can get the rare earth magnets that work really, really strongly, that make you having to, like that. And so you don't have to think about it, but you're actually having to lift your foot and, to walk.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, God, please don't focus this as it's not a criticism, because you just couldn't do this all the time, but is their movements. Their movements would be a little, I mean, everybody's clothes, they would have to shoot everything upside down, which isn't like safe. I can't imagine that being safe. So, and I don't need it. I don't need that form of accuracy with hair going up. I don't care. I get it. The mag boots is enough. Especially knowing the budget of the show and what they get out of the budget is genius. I heard today from an insider, not the exact number, but we were off on the Star Trek Discovery budget per episode. It is indeed, it's over $10 million an episode they paid.
God.
Yes.
Yeah. Tarka Jedi says The Expanse is one of those rare shows that you get the books right for TV. So much so when you read them, you see and hear the actors.
Right. And that's why TV is really the only destination you can go now with book adaptations, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you want to get them right. Especially smaller books, but I know it could get expensive, and it doesn't have to be full seasons, but I think that's one thing. Love or hate Game of Thrones, you can thank it for when we get better adaptations in the future. That Game of Thrones kind of broke ground on that. And yes, they've done it in the past. They did like the Winds of War and stuff like that. And Dennis and I even talked about, like, why did they go away from that? I freaking loved the North and the South and Winds of War and all those miniseries they used to do back in the 80s. Those were cool. They were just all book adaptations, and they were limited series. They weren't going to do another one, although they did another North and South. But
yeah, they did North and South Part 2.
And they did another Winds of War too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they Lonesome Dove and all those kind of things.
The Broken Winds of War. No, Shogun was the best. I mean, Shogun was the groundbreaking one with Richard Chamberlain. That was awesome.
Well, I think the first one was Walking Tall, right, with Joe Don Baker.
I don't think that was. I think it was like a movie. I think that was a made for
TV. No, that was on TV. Yeah, that was a
made for TV movie, but not like a miniseries.
No, because it went over a couple of nights. But
I don't remember that.
I just remember from the that 70s show where they were talking about recording it as the first VCR and all that stuff, and that's why it jogs my memory about it. And I briefly remember it being on TV when I was a kid, but I was too young for that.
I thought that was a movie, but that's just me. What makes The Expanse the Star Trek of the century is the way it infuses truths without shoving them in your face. For instance, the tech is all in the background. Yep.
Yeah, that's the way Star Wars used to be. All the tech was in the background.
That's the way a lot of things used to be. Marvel, Doctor Who.
Yeah. Viking Bitch says Avasarla is so good in the books. I love an old woman that gives no shits. She is my hero.
Absolutely.
Actually, Avasarla gives no fucks.
Yeah. Well, she hands out a lot of fucks. Yeah,
she doesn't
give any.
She does.
She is missed. I'm sure she'll pop up again. She is too wonderful of character to be gone. I'm so glad we're going to get more of her. They're going to have to find a tricky way to. Well, no, she's going to be prevalent in the next couple of books. I think I'll tell you that she's not gone.
Mary Ashmead says, I'm an RN, so I knew about the pooling of blood without gravity. You need gravity to have your veins and arteries to do their job. So if there's an internal injury, you can get clots, quick death.
Yep. That doesn't sound fun.
No, it's not.
Man, we got physicists and RNs, and I mean, you people are brilliant. Smarter than us, for sure.
And full beard.
Tarka Jedi says drummer is a better Bull than Bull. The book people will know what you are talking. I'm assuming gender. Sorry, what you are talking about. And I agree. I don't know. Bull's a pretty good character though. I like Bull.
Tarka Jedi says hashtag Denise grows a beard. I don't know who this Denise is, but
Denise Bithoulkas, that is what I'm going to call you till the end of time now.
Yeah, I know, Joyce. Dude, if I had a nickel, if I had a penny for every time someone's murdered my name into that, I would be a millionaire.
Oh, please. Have the last name of Buechler, okay?
Oh, yeah, that's
Join
well, at least I don't have that going for
yeah,
me.
there you go.
That's the bullet on that one.
Yeah.
Polly Simeon says, prior to the deconstruction of the Marine that tosses grenade, I assume that traveled slower than the RPG. Yeah, but it was a direct threat. It actually damaged the when it exploded, it damaged the floor. So that's why it took him, and because he had more weapons, of course.
So yeah, they just shot the little missile or whatever it was called, the RPG, at the wall, and it had blown up the wall. It would have done something, believe me, probably to all of them, and changed the speed limit again.
Yep. Yeah.
And it would have gone, don't think I won't stop you all. I'll just stop you.
Do you want me to pull this car over?
Yep.
I will.
I will.
Free Maniac
Maybe call your mother.
Free Maniac Paracusa says, loved how Bobby knew to test the speed limit. I wonder if the Marine who fired it would have been a bit nervous to do so, given what happened to the last guy to fire one. Yeah, she was actually pretty ballsy about firing that. You know, she goes, hold on a minute. And she shoots it off. I'm like, damn, man, that is kind of ballsy now that I think about it.
She fought a blue hybrid creature.
True.
So everything's relative, man.
Oh, man. Grevlin says, Havelock, the new guy? Nope, that actor is the new Magnum PI. No, serious. Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's
so
right.
he won't be. I guess he won't be back in the show then. That's too bad.
You know, after season 1 he gets canceled.
That show's not going to last long. So look forward to having Havelock back.
Although I said the same thing about Hawaii Five-0, and they're still going strong 7 years later. So
I didn't think that would get canceled. I thought that was the show's actually okay for a procedural cop show. I love how the social and political issues are there, and the characters are having reactions true to their natures. I know Tarka Jedi. I'm almost like didn't recognize it for a second. I'm like, whoa, accuracy to character.
Polly Simeon says it'd be a real heel toe action if they were realistic mag boots. I'm okay with it being taken for granted. That's what I'm saying, Polly Simeon. A lot of the shots, we've seen some shots from down low, and I see them keep doing heel toe, and you hear ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk as they're walking. And they're doing that kind of motion, kind of like that herky jerky kind of motion as they're going back and forth. And that's why I thought it was kind of interesting that they're doing it. And I'm having to say they have to put some magnets in there to really force the actors to do that, because I don't think you can do that and act your lines at the same time. Be too much.
Yeah, that can't be easy to concentrate on all that stuff. And great example is a friend of mine, Scott Edwards, pointed out to me, because I used to, I still kind of love it, but the movie Braveheart. So in the movie Braveheart, during the big battle, if you look in the background, just look at the background, you see guys, and what does this have to do? It's actors and extras all paying attention and doing what they're supposed to do. So you can see the guys in the back just kind of going, are we still filming? I think we're still filming. Okay, let's go. Yeah, just like it completely ruins the movie. So maybe you shouldn't look.
Unlike Big Government Little China, where the background extras were actually real gang members and beating the crap out of the stuntmen.
Yep.
So
there you go.
That's a different thing altogether. Caravaggio 2012 says, I teach math, 4th grade. My classes are always in the top 1% of my state. Teach them old school. At the end of the day, they just have to be able to problem solve. Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because I really am not a fan of that comment. Shoot.
Iron Trone says that's an expensive STD.
Yes, it really is. They all are in the end, aren't they?
They do cost you a lot.
Yeah.
Eventually. Free Maniac Paracusa. Nope, we already read that one. Deanna McCombs. I was pointing out that Havelock survived a spear in his chest.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry
I
about
didn't
that.
catch that. My apologies. He did, but it was in gravity. So he had gravity. The other people did not. But Drummer could definitely survive that. I think of who might be dying is Ashford. He didn't get himself
Yeah,
checked out. He's coughing up blood, and
yeah,
there's
he's grabbing
gravity
onto his
now, but
side.
that's still bad. That's still bad. Good to see you too, Talim 29. Yeah, sorry, no, sorry that one I phased out or something like that. But yes, Havelock did survive getting skewered in season 1. But the meds are better. The technology is better in the future. They don't show a ton of that right now. It's funny. They kind of show it in Westworld. How they can fix stuff, but they did show the whole broken arm thing, and there's some other stuff that you're going to see too. That's pretty fun. Maybe from Clarissa.
Wow. So Deanna McCombs does correct me. Walking Tall was a movie. She's old enough to remember, is what she says.
There you go. It
There
was a
we
movie.
are. Here we go. Mary Ashmead says, I had a patient die when he had chest pain, figured it was a lung clot. I called a code, ran to go get a large IV, ran back, died in 2 minutes from a clot.
Ugh.
Yeah, damn.
I will try not to get clots. Does lots of water help? I'm not sure.
No,
It was
it's
not
mainly
funny. I should not be
compression.
joking around that. I'm sorry, he passed. Hate Pirate says it was if they are really using mag boots, bet the actor's vertical and their 40 speed is improved greatly after three seasons. Yeah, they could probably run pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
Movie
Sorry, my
Kenobi.
chat had jumped there. That's why I said, "Oh, here we go," because it went whoop, and I came back down again.
Good night, people. Gary, hopefully chats I said last vid will find their way through the ether of your channel. Drive safely. Looking forward to that. Movie Finobi, did you send a super chat? I didn't see it. I know you sent one last video, and thank you if I missed it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Movie Finobi. And
Uh,
yeah, good night, sir, and thank you. I will let you all know when I arrive safe at VidCon.
yeah.
Why are you saying no, Feisty? I just see no.
I don't. Oh, I think because he was leaving. Movie knew he was leaving. That's why. Free Maniac Paracusa says, my former girlfriend worked in the pediatric oncology ward during her last year as a student. Hard place to be in. Yeah, I can imagine that. Polly Simeon has a question for you, Gary. Do you think Drummer's going to end up like Bull from the books after the crushing she's endured?
Boy, I would say yes.
All right. Oh, it could be from what Tarka Jedi says. No, not Ash. Love that old Irish dog when we're talking about him dying.
Ashford. Oh, okay, yeah. Um, hmm. If I said anything, it would spoil. Let's talk about it after next episode.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I saw him clutching his side at the same time that he was walking kind of slowly, and he looked kind of like he was wincing. And when he was given the okay to everybody to come to the ship, now it has gravity. And so, yeah, I said the same. I thought the same thing, that he's hurting pretty bad, and because he even said, "Oh, I just got minor injuries, no big deal," and he kind of brushed off the med tech.
Oh yeah, and you could see he was struggling when he made the announcement. And yes, Movie Finobi sent $1.99 before I had to redo another video. I did. I thanked him in the chat. Did he not see it? So thank you again, Movie Finobi. I'm sorry I had to delete the last video. We had technical difficulties, but thanks for reminding me, folks.
Small Yoda 3 says, in the past, I didn't really find Anna's character that interesting or likable, but now that she saved Naomi, I like her a lot more now. I think she might have done it by accident.
Yeah, right. James Hayes says, it's always great listening to Gary and Dennis. Thanks for the show. Hang in there, and I am sure we will be a huge success.
Thank you.
Yeah, hope so. Thanks, James Hayes. Hey, we've got 4,000 plus great subs and the best chat on YouTube. That's a success to me anyway. I mean, like, I'm totally happy this.
me too. I mean,
this
it's
is
a lot
lots
of fun.
and you guys are great. Movie Finobi does rock. Always comes with a good chat.
Brad Enervold, excuse me, brings up a good point. We never did see what happened to the reporter and the cameraman this episode. Maybe they're stuck.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I wonder if they just shipped them off. But yeah, they might come back.
Yeah, because I mean,
Especially Monica.
Amos just kind of pushed him out this airlock. No, go on now. Go on out there.
Ion Tron says, press the like button. Smash that like button. Like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we're at the end of our chat now, and pretty much just in time.
Yeah, let me get the
yeah, I'll start thanking people.
Yeah, you can start thanking some people, read some more chats.
All right. So thank you, Feisty Fan, Free Maniac Paracusa, Jody, Crazy Carlos, Artemis Over Easy, Caravaggio 2012, Iron Throne, excuse me, Brad Enervold, Mary Ashmead. Yes, I keep saying that right now because ever since then, I don't want to screw that up. James Hayes, Viking Bitch, Target Jedi, Small Yoda 3, Apple Crow. Hey, Apple Crow. And yes, the finale is a 2-hour episode, 2-hour episode, two-parter is what that is. So stick around for that one. Hate Pirate, thank you. Excuse me. Polly Simeon, thank you. Stun the Wombat. Tellium 29. And we have a couple more. I know Movie Finobi we already thanked. And that is where I am at right there. So
and you are seeing across the screen our wonderful and loyal, amazing patrons. We have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/nerdrotic. We also have a couple people who did not show up on that graphic. That will be rectified next episode. And they are Jeffrey Kane, Mark Mignana, and I want to say it's Edwin Johnson. And if I miss somebody, I'm sorry. We have 33 patrons. We have 3 levels. We have $1 where you could just chip in. It supports. Say thank you. And we also take requests. $5 level, which is you get 3 exclusive comic books to my old comic store, the Comic Outpost, and the third tier, and I think I can show you a picture. Our third tier is like a loot crate box. It's called a what's in the box, right? And you get
what's
stuff, but you don't get like new loot crate stuff. You get some vintage stuff. You get a few action figures, a few comic books. Here is what you get. Okay, you don't get exactly this. It's a representation of what you get. You do get those comic books on the top right there. And on the bottom, you'll get a mix of comic books. And yes, I'll throw in a vintage one like that Mad magazine right here.
Nice.
That's a straight golden age right there. And yeah, and this when I ship out this month's packages, they're all going to have a vintage Kenner Star Wars figure in there. Like yeah, that's going to be badass because we love you guys. That's why. So yeah, check us out on Patreon. We have nerdrotic.com. That is our main website. That's where we put all of our audio and video podcasts. We also have our schedule on the right. Please check it out. I will be doing some random live streams this week because I'm on vacation and I'm head down to VidCon right after this show. I'm going. And so we will be doing, our next show will be I guess Cloak and Dagger be tomorrow night, and it'll be late. So I'll probably be doing that one solo live from John Reed, our old friend John Reed, from his studio. I'll be live from the TPK Games studio.
Gosh, wow.
Change that name. It doesn't roll off the tongue very well.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're all perfectly fine.
Or TPK Games. Yeah. I'll have to practice. Sorry. Nerdrotic doesn't actually roll off the tongue either. So I should shut the hell up. Yeah. So Expanse fans, we only got one more show. I'm so sad, but that's why I'm going to do book reviews so we can still hang out. Okay. So
Crazy Carlos asks, Gary, shirts, when are they going to be ready?
Shirts will be ready by Comic-Con. Okay,
yes.
By San Diego Comic-Con. Actually, probably 2 weeks before Comic-Con. So we're talking 2 to 3 weeks from now. Okay, we'll have shirts ready. Thanks for asking, and we'll get that thing going. Feisty, I will see you Saturday. So I'm going to be down in that area. So what's up, Feisty? And yeah, so please check out our schedule. Follow us in our Facebook group. Follow us on Twitter. Dennis is at the Force. I am at Nerdrotics. Dennis, please. What's this say? Have fun, Gary. Your vacation. Yes, I'm on vacation for a week. For a whole week. I'm only going to VidCon for 2 days though, because I'd rather just podcast, to be honest with you guys. So Dennis, take us out, man.
I want to also thank everybody that I didn't get to in the chat. So, and on that note, children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you'll be limited to 28 meters per second. No one wants that.
And you'll end up splat.
Yep.
Doors and corners, kid. Doors and corners.